I am excited. I absolutely, you love this phrase, Ollie. I bounced out of bed this morning. I knew there, I knew there was some Latin games on the cards, and I was ready to roll. I've been looking forward to this all day, especially when I get told that I'm coming into a FURIA game as well. And FURIA Black Dragons, we couldn't ask for much better inside of the server. They're both going to be fighting hard. And I don't just want to paint this FURIA picture, Ollie. That's something I want to be very careful. Let's think about Black Dragons here. How much of a steal could this be if they get into the major spot? That could be massive for them.
Especially for a sort of developing team, which I think it's a fair category to put Black Dragons into at the moment, is that they are a team that are still sort of finding their feet and still developing. So it really does start to get quite impressive when you think and you look at those sort of terms. Obviously picking up Resets and Perez, this is going to be their first stage inside of the BR6, and already they're making waves into the quarterfinals.
It is. It's really something. Now, just to quickly touch on our operator bans that we've had there for Chalet. We've got Flores, we've got Lion, we've got Kaid, and we've got Valkyrie all going out of things. Now, Flores, new operator coming in for this stage. No surprise to see the ban there. I mean, have you seen a lot of use? How have you seen that impact in the LATAM region as a whole, Ollie?
Flores is something that they've really sort of picked up and ran with.
Powerful operator.
Very powerful.
We had a Lems in EUL saying basically they think it's the most powerful competitive operator at the minute.
Cameraman said literally the same thing. We asked him in an interview, like, I think they maybe banned Flores or something. We were like, what about the Flores ban? Like, come on, we want to see it. And he was like, Flores is too overpowered. And that was sort of straight out of cameraman's mouth. So it is something that we've seen quite a lot inside of BR6. And it's no major surprise to see it removed away here, especially when you think to the sort of powerful shield play and a lot of the utility burning that you've got to do on this map.
Absolutely. I mean, one position in particular that I'm thinking of is that piano that we can see right in front of us. We're going to be on a top floor hold for site, one master and office, and quite often one of the power positions is in and around that piano. You'll quite often get a bit of utility played in there just to help somebody keep themselves locked in, and the Flores will often be the Rotero drones that are going in there looking to clear out that utility. So that may be a spot that has some significance as this round goes on. But for the immediate start of the round, we've got FURIA pushing towards the library side to get things moving. Usually the case, try and get into the top floor, get yourself established, boots on the ground, a little bit of a beachhead inside a library, and then look to push out from there and challenge those defenders.
See a bit of a Solarium take as well here, as that's where we see Rare getting himself. He's going to be carrying that diffuser, carrying that kit, and waiting for a little bit of intel to come on in. Lender just trying to see if there's anything that he can take advantage of here, and very quickly will find himself an opener. Takes down Ion, as Curiosity really got the better of him there.
Big start for FURIA. That's exactly what they needed. Just settle things down a bit, get themselves a kill on the board, and then they can start thinking about getting inside and building up the push towards the master and office site. Now, as you said, there's a couple outside on the Solarium rappel. There's a little bit of attention over to library, and I love what I'm seeing from FURIA here. There's a couple down on that ground floor. They're thinking, right, let's think in terms of getting in, clearing out anybody that's not on site, and then let's surround these defenders. Let's get ourselves on the library side. Let's get ourselves on the Solarium side. Let's make it really uncomfortable for Black Dragons to try and sit inside a site. We've even got the vertical angles coming out here potentially. Fancy going in underneath. Could be using that to clear out some utility potentially if they're getting held up by a mute jammer that's just preventing them breaching a wall. Get underneath, clear it out. Lender comes in with a second ollie. He smashes a grenade into the face alive there. Absolutely removes the man, and with 1 minute 15 left to go, Black Dragons, they're on the back foot.
They really are. Lender is getting pinched here on the Solarium stairs. He's just going to try and hold his ground for now. He does have a little bit of assistance. He's got highs on the upside down rappel on big window. That's doing a lot to cut straight through the site. As Resets, he finds himself down. Fantasy will be able to pick up a kill onto Patoxy, and a second over onto Resets. Give him an inch and he will take a mile. Perez, he's going to find himself a couple there. Landing his shots and dropping the diffuser. A very important couple of kills. He's still got a lot of time to hold on here, but he's given himself a chance.
Well, he can play his position now. He knows that there's one out on the double window. He gets himself another. This is 1v5 down to 1v1. We saw Perez getting a little bit of a shoulder rub before we came in, Ollie. And whatever's gone on there has certainly given him the strength that he needed to get in here and start having a fantastic round one, because he's not had the best performance so far. He does take shots there, though. 1v1 shut down by Miracle. One of those two names that I picked up on before we came into this game. And the shoulder rub maybe just wasn't quite enough, Ollie. I thought there was some magic hands going on there. We saw him just getting ready and focused coming into this one. And what a performance that nearly was to kick things off for Black Dragons and Perez there.
You imagine if that shoulder rub lasted another 5 seconds, what he would have been able to achieve there inside of that round. A very impressive cleanup. Furia threw themselves at that one, and honestly, they would have deserved it if they'd have lost it. Because with the way that we saw aggressive players coming on through, it was just a little bit unnecessary. I don't think that we needed to see, you know, both Rare and Lender peak at the same time. And it wasn't even like a double peak. It wasn't even that good, because one player stuck inside of a rappel animation. We get another player stuck inside of a rappel animation as they're coming in from the big window. Perez has done a great job to land a few shots there. It's going to have given a bit of confidence, I think, to the side of Black Dragons, because otherwise that round was a whitewash to Furia.
Oh, it was, yeah, up to that point, it was a complete write-off for them. I think the thing is, we've all been there. I'm not saying that I play at the level that Furia does, but we've all been there.
4K inside
no, not on Perez's side. I've been on Furia's side of that countless times. You get to 5v1, and it's just like, you know what? Let's just rappel in together. We'll try and get the kill. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's 1v1, and you've got somebody in your ear, and it's usually me that's saying, we're throwing this away here. Throwing this away here, boys. Like, we need to calm down. This is 1v1. We were 1v5 a second ago. Miracle's closed that out. Like I say, Miracle and Rare both going very well inside of this tournament so far. So maybe not one of the ideal players to be left up against in that sort of clutch situation. But, absolutely hats off to Perez there. Great effort, and hopefully we can see that continue for Black Dragons. Maybe more of the late round than the early round would be nice.
Miracle already starting off pretty strong there. He dealt a few chip damage shots into Resets. Resets was inside a bar there, playing on the Frost. Obviously, needing to do something to deal with this aggressive entry that Furia are bringing. We've also got Miracle holding the drone hole now. He's not going to shoot just yet, but he knows somebody's going to be playing there. Just trying to open himself up enough lines of sight to work with. Showing great patience here. He isn't going to get a great chance at dishing any serious damage into Ion, but at least he knows that he's going to be there. And now Furia can work to do what they've done very well, and that is to pinch players out, get the drones working in. It's very similar to the way that Liquid play this map. They like to get a lot of kills from the outside before committing too heavily inside of the building. And that's really what we're seeing now with these challenges coming in. Players just trying to get baited into a bit of window play.
Patoxi's going to get himself challenged very soon if he's not careful, but it's actually Live who comes up into the first engagement there and will find himself down. So Patoxi goes for the jump out, but shut down by a Lender who seemed to have a sixth sense. He knew that was coming, and he was there to just mop up the man as he jumped out of the window. That effectively leaves us 5 versus 3 now, unless somebody is able to get themselves over to Live and get him collected. It's looking unlikely at the minute. Perez takes an awful lot of damage on that challenge as well, just having to dip away on the Jaeger, and right now Live, the best he can hope to do is feed a bit of information into his team if any of these Furia players come within range of him to be able to be spotted out, but that's not going to be the case for the time being. And coming into the last 55 seconds, once again Black Dragons are seriously on the back foot here.
That kill will be confirmed there as Live eventually is going to bleed out. There's still a power position to be dealt with at the top of Library stairs. Perez actually gets himself downed inside of the site as well. Furia have about 35 seconds to execute on this, and they're dealing with a significant man advantage yet again here. They haven't really suffered at all, aside from that little spree from Perez that we saw previously now. We know that High saw the frost mat, so we don't have to panic too much there. But Ion is going to find one over onto Fantasy, commanding those library stairs, and now able to get himself back on into the site. The push has to come in, but it's coming in a little bit slow, and Resets, he's going to hit a couple of shots, quickly brings this down into a 2 versus 2. Can now just watch onto the doorway, finds himself a triple. Can he hit the quad? Yes, he can. Resets. What a performance inside of that round.
What is going on in this game? I just really hope that Black Dragons are not going to try this every single round, because my heart can't take it, X. There's absolutely no way I can go through this with 4K and 5K attempts at the end of every single round. Resets there coming up big, and I think we're seeing the same flow for Furia there, getting themselves that advantage, this time just feeding in through that single door and giving Resets every opportunity. One man goes in, peeks the bomb, gets killed. They don't have time to change things around, but they should have been set differently to begin with. You've got to push from multiple angles in a man advantage situation. You've got the manpower to do it. Try and get a pinch. Try and get yourself on opposite sides of somebody. Don't allow it to be possible for them to just treat it like a shooting range as one target pops up in front of them after another.
He got 4 kills without moving his feet.
Exactly that.
4 kills, and he was in the same spot. Whatever that, you call that out, and he should be dead. That was, again, from Furia. Great early round. Furia's early round is really strong.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
That late round is a mess. I'm going to be straight. Like, that should not be allowed to happen. Resets is... He's taken advantage there. He shouldn't have been allowed to do what he's been able to do, but he's just played to the whistle. You know, he's got himself 4 kills, dealt with not only players coming in from, you know, the bottom of main stairs and inside of that fireplace area, but he's dealt with someone through the hatch as well.
That for me was probably the kill. That was the one that really opened it up. It hits the hatch shot, which isn't easy. You know, we always say this, fighting uphill in Siege is a difficult battle. Usually, if you've got the height advantage, you do tend to start finding those kills. But he manages to get the man on the hatch and then just flips it around, and he's got 2 left, 8 seconds. They don't have time to relocate anymore. And so for me, that's the real linchpin of that clutch.
Well, we'll see how Furia choose to respond here. I would imagine that they're going to attempt very similar inside of this early round, but of course they're dealing with a different site now. Black Dragons have actually gone downstairs, which isn't a site that we get to see all too often.
It's difficult to defend. It's difficult to defend because you've got all 4 sides that you can be attacked from.
And you've still got to do a full map clear. So, as easy as it is to just open the wall and try and get a plant off, you've still got to clear the whole map.
You do, because it can be held vertically. If you're inside a fireplace, inside of that main lobby area, you can just open up a few holes there. Like you say, if you've got somebody on the roam, if potentially somebody like Live on the mute, if, you know, bringing along those explosives, you've got Ion he's used them, but the impact nade options there. If you can get those holes opened up vertically, you can prevent that plant going down. So, like you say, very important to get everybody cleared out.
We're seeing a much slower approach here from Furia. I'm not sure if this is in response to the way that the previous couple of rounds have gone. But we're halfway through the round and they haven't made a big impact onto the roamers. They forced them back to site, but there are still a couple out there and present. Miracle is going to move through Piano now. There's going to be players sitting on the main stairs, but at this point, Black Dragons can kind of just retreat and be happy that they've wasted a good portion of time.
That's it for the time being. A lot of the roaming job is done. They're down to that final minute. We're going to see that rear wall getting opened up now. Thatcher along with his EMP grenades just to make that a little bit easier. Have a little bit of damage done to Lender. He's been getting into those entry battles repeatedly, but you can see what I was saying there, X. You've got Thermite opening up the rear wall. He's going to move round. He's going to open up the side wall from Trench as well. So now the defenders have got multiple angles to worry about. Ion, he's not worried about a thing as he puts Fantasy into the ground though. Lender, second grenade kill on the day, using those explosives to fantastic effect so far. Levels things up here in round 3, 4 versus 4. 25 seconds left to go in Furia. They've got to get something moving here, and that's what's going to happen as Rare just dashes in through that side breach, starts to get the diffuser down, even manages to dodge out of the way of a Nitro, but the kills keep coming, and they keep coming in the favour of Black Dragons right now. Rare, very important engagement there as he gets the kill onto Ion. That was his second, with one going on to Live as well. It's all up to Patoxy. The cover's in place though from a long angle, shut down by Miracle, and what a round from Furia, showing exactly how to attack onto the basement.
We got a great view of that as well. With that top down, we could see the decision making that Rare was dealing with, and we saw him start the plant, and he came off. Obviously, because we're not in his view, we can't hear that the C4's been ripped, but he knows it's coming in. We see him go to the other side of the stack. He starts to try and get the plant down over there. Rare has played a blinder. He's essentially been inside of a blender. Someone's turned it on, and he's been dodging the blades as they come through at max speed, as it's trying to pulse you up. Great round there from Rare. Good rotation from Miracle as well, getting himself downstairs. I was a bit worried when I saw where Miracle was in those dying few seconds, and I saw Rare in essentially a 1 versus 2. Because you're thinking, Miracle, where are you? We need a little bit of assistance. We need that crossfire through into connector to try and cut anybody off from moving on through, but it came exactly when it was required. Again, a very close round. You know, these rounds are the swinging in the early part. We've seen Furia take the early lead in a couple of them so far. That last one, it was very unclear. It really could have gone either way, but Rare and Miracle, they're able to dig deep and get the job done.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about Miracle's position. It's quite specific for him to be back there in Big Garage like that. But with that wall opened, if you think about it, he carves off a massive section of that site. And given that Rare was on his left-hand side, having come in from the trench side, he should, so long as there's no more explosives left on the board, be completely safe, because nobody should be allowed to step across that line of sight that Miracle's got all the way right through to connector. So it was well played by Furia to get that down, even after they'd lost a few men in that sort of battle of attrition in the mid-range. You got to feel for Black Dragons a little bit there. They again had a stalwart fight back in that mid-round area, mid to late round, where they got them couple of kills, and you thought this could be falling apart for Furia again. But no, this time Furia had it locked down. But we did comment on this, it was one of the easier attacking sites. So Furia, they need to take that momentum now and start pushing forward a bit.
And from what they've shown us, they're going to be very capable of picking up rounds elsewhere as well. They've just been coming down a little bit too close to the wire. Again, we see Furia with trying to get that kill over on the entry now. In the early part of the round, we did see a bit of drone work going on inside of Bar and Gaming, and that drone work's going to continue. Fantasy looked like he was going to get himself into a position, but for the meantime, it seems as though Miracle is just trying to cut off any sort of rotation or serious run out, as Highs is actually going to get himself above and maybe try and work down from that library area. Fancy now into position as well, and start to deal with the player that's going to be on Fireplace.
Just looking to hold those angles through into library. Fantasy is going to go in, supported by the man on the window, which was Highs. Lender is going to be down this time. He's been well in those opening battles so far, but this time Ion comes out on top, manages to get that first. Miracle, however, will get a trade, and the kills start absolutely raining in. And unfortunately for Furia, they can't stop killing anything that moves, even their own men. As Rare, he will pick up an unfortunate team kill there, leaving them 2 versus 3. Fortunately, there was a couple already down on the side of Black Dragons, but with Lender down, injured, that's going to pick him back up to 20 health, but he's only 1 bullet away from dying. So this is not going to be an easy final minute for Furia. They're going to have to play this smart. For me, they need to use their drones. The problem is they've only got 1 left on the side of Rare. Ollie, he's got 1 that he can actively use. There may be a few knocking about in static positions that the other players have left before dying, but in terms of sending drones in to gather information, there's not going to be much of that available.
No, and that's demonstrated with the smokes just used in an attempt to get into a position to do anything inside of this round. Lender doesn't have any grenades left either, but he has got himself underneath, and he can start to try and find a bit of a vertical angle, see if anybody on the side of Black Dragons gets a little bit too aggressive, but Rare is eventually going to get himself picked on off. Well, Lender, he'd announced himself by taking out the default cam. Somebody on the side of Black Dragons would have been watching that. Resets to pick up that final kill. Lovely little flick there, and we get to see inside of the final kill cam. Black Dragons come back with a round that wasn't up for grabs for anyone. They vied very heavily there in the early part with an aggressive hold.
And what a game that we're seeing so far. We're 2-0 after 4 rounds, and this one, I've just got a feeling, is going to be tooth and nail the whole way. Whether we end up with a third map or whether we see 2 tight victories for one team, we'll see as this one progresses. But right now, Black Dragons showing that they are in this one to fight, and they are here to try and claim their spot in that Mexican major, which, like you say, you know, they sort of squeaked their way through the normal season to get themselves here into the Copa Elite Six. They've done everything by the skin of their teeth, and they might just manage to do that again.
It would be great if they did. You know, I think it would be really good for Black Dragons if they were able to get themselves...
I love them stories.
You know, they missed out on Copa last stage by 1 point. You know, they are that team that are just on the threshold, on the precipice all the time, and eventually they're going to do it. And it might have to come through, you know, a very arduous game, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. You know, there's no clear winner inside of this one so far. All square at round 5 at 2 rounds apiece. That's what it's going to take from Black Dragons, I think, and, you know, maybe today could be their day. I think certainly the second map could favour them, but even here on Chalet, there's been nothing too clear-cut just yet, so... Another couple of chances here for Black Dragons to defend. Another couple of chances for them to pick up a couple of rounds here before they switch over onto the attack, which is where we've seen them struggle a little bit more. So, the better that they can do here on the defense, it's going to stand them in a better stead moving forward into that split.
Rare immediately opening up that Solarium window there, just looking to apply some pressure to those top floor roamers of Black Dragons. We are, of course, attacking onto Bar and Gaming this time for Furia. And look at the aggression coming in from Fantasy, going straight in there. Absolutely no messing. He's getting hot droned in. You can see it just ahead of him. Oh, I don't think he maybe quite knows the exact position of that man, and just takes a few little pre-fire shots before he moves in, but he's going to have to dip out of the engagement for the time being. He's going to be supported by Miracle, who's also moving in from Trophy as well. They just see the man dipping his way back up the main stairs, so Black Dragons not wanting to commit too heavily to those early challenges, but I tell you what, they do commit onto the kill of Highs, and that's going to close the man down on the main door. That's going to just give Black Dragons that advantage again, and this at the minute, all this entry game for Black Dragons is going through Ion right now.
He's doing a lot of work there. Highs has been removed on the Jackal. Now, it's one of the first times we've seen Jackal picked. So Highs has obviously brought that for a specific reason, and maybe to assist in this roam clear, or for the smoke grenades that Jackal brings, but neither of those things are going to be a factor. We still will have smokes on Rare. Whether we get Rare into a position to use them or not. This upstairs is pretty free at the moment for Furia, as we see them be able to make pretty serious advance. Fantasy and Lender have got themselves in now and can start to challenge onto the top of Library and deal with that deployable shield. It will eventually be dealt with. There is going to still be a player inside of Library and a player on the stairs, so there's still a lot to consider here for Furia in this approach, and they haven't got a great deal of time to execute it.
50 seconds left to go. Patoxy gets aggressive. He nearly finds himself one. In comes the nade that he has to just duck away from, but his movement there is actually fantastic as he gets the shots on, just avoids the nade that was coming in to try and take him down, and then keeps himself alive and in the fight, getting himself back into Bar for the time being. Half health, albeit, but Lender, he's taken a lot of damage in that exchange as well. Now, Black Dragons, they are largely falling back to site here to try and just hold things down for the last 20 seconds. Furia, this is where they've been struggling, finding those openings, getting themselves into position to win rounds in the late stage. Now, Live, he gets himself another one onto Lender, and it's all falling apart again, but Rare and Fantasy, they maybe managed to grab a hold of it. That's a great kill through into the connector. 1 versus 1, 1 second left to go. Time is going to run out for Rare. Fortunately, Patoxy manages to close that one out as he just watches the sand run through the hourglass and just waits for that 3-minute timer to be over. And another successful defense for Black Dragons.
Another tight round down in the Bar as well. You know, we saw Furia make some good changes there inside of that round. They weren't going to fall to resets and his 4K games this time. They really were in a position to deal a lot better. But again, falling foul of the clock. You got to think, if that little bit of barbed wire that was on the doorway catching Rare and keeping him slowed a little bit, has that played a bit of a factor in there inside of that round? Very possibly. All Rare needed was a glimpse there to land a couple of shots, but time was running out and things were getting a little bit desperate for FURIA. So we are going to see Black Dragons pick up another round there. They now have the lead for the first time this map. Can they look to try and extend it? They're going to be taking us into the kitchen now. And they're going to look to make this a 4-2 split.
This could be massive for Black Dragons. As you commented coming in, Ollie, obviously FURIA, a team that we know are very good on Chalet. And potentially this was their map pick as well. So Black Dragons have obviously got some confidence in Cafe coming in there. FURIA regularly ban it out, as you said. So you start asking the question then, are FURIA banning it out because they don't like playing there, or are they banning it out because they're keeping it under wraps and they're going to be happy to go there? So that's going to be a big question mark over map 2 potentially, especially if Black Dragons come out and get this win on Chalet. This could be the real foundation. This could be the best foot forward that they need to push themselves into the major.
It really could. You know, it can all come down. Even inside of the best of 3, one map can have a really huge swing just in terms of mentality and momentum. And we know that Black Dragons are an aggressive side. If they start to really feel themselves in hitting the shots and things start to click and they really come together, it might not be beyond the realm of possibility for them to do this here. And well, the way that we've seen FURIA play, it's not necessarily been scrappy, but they've had to win in those situations. And Black Dragons have really put them under quite a lot of pressure so far today. So still, the last round of the attack for FURIA. And honestly, I think regardless of whether Chalet is attacker-sided, defender-sided, I think it's going to be good for them to get off this side now. I think it's going to be good for them to get themselves onto the defense. They just want to try and get through this round, come away with a round win, and then look to sort of turn their sights, because things haven't gone smoothly for them, and Black Dragons have made it very difficult so far.
No, they've had those late round issues, and as you say, it can become a little bit of a mental block sometimes. So I think if they can just get away from that, get themselves onto the defence, maybe hopefully switch the momentum up. But for the time being, there is still one more round to close out. We're getting towards the halfway point here. They are attacking onto kitchen and dining for this last time. Fantasy sends in that Gemini decoy there that will be taken down, but not before feeding in information just about some of the player locations up on this top floor. Because once again, the defenders of Black Dragons, they're going to try to hold down Master and Office for as long as possible. They want to keep hold of those vertical angles, but Fantasy, he manages to find a sort of half vertical angle halfway down the stairs there. What a great headshot onto the man at bar as well, taking down Ion, and that's Live who went along with him in that opening encounter. So now 5 versus 3, and he gets himself another. This couldn't be Fantasy going for one of those classic aces, could it?
Honestly, keep feeding him. Why are Black Dragons still peeking him? That's absolutely crazy. Fancy's had a bit of a change of pace. He's picked onto the Iana. Not somebody that we see him play all too often. Highs, he's going to yoink it off him. The nade was perfect. Fancy could have been on for a 4K there and still possibly could have been on for the ace, but Highs is going to yoink that one away from him. This is the FURIA that we were expecting to see here, but there's still chance for them to mess it up. We've seen them in this situation before. Highs, he's going to pick up that final kill. FURIA will finally get themselves a flawless round. They've been threatening it throughout the course of their attacks here on Chalet, and on the last round of their attack, they finally managed to do it.
3-0, we see even Stevens at the halfway point as FURIA are able to get round 6 over the line. More than over the line, they absolutely sprinted away with that one. 3 kills for Fantasy, 2 for Highs, and it was all done and dusted. As you say, I think 4 of the kills, I think it was X. No, 3 of them came in the exact same location, and that was on that dining room door. They just wanted to keep fighting there, and I'm not really sure why.
No, it's from a defender point of view, it's very strange, because FURIA have just gone, we're just going to walk in if that's all right with you. We're just gonna make our way through it. Like, just don't fight him. Just don't fight Fantasy there.
Beautiful shot onto the man behind the bar as well, just showing the gun skill that he's got at his fingertips, really able to take that one out. And it just felt like a little bit of a catalyst in the round. He got that opener, and then he hits the man at bar, and all of a sudden FURIA are rolling. And that's what you just feel like about them as a team at the minute, or I certainly do watching this. I just think as soon as FURIA sort of get on top, you always feel like they're going to win the round. Obviously, we had that round 2 where Black Dragons did manage to turn it around, but generally speaking, FURIA, they're sort of like a stone hitting a downhill. As soon as, they're rolling along, they're just picking up a little bit of pace, and then those first kills just push them over the edge, and there's very, very little stopping them.
They're a very momentum-based team, and I think it does come off the back of that team effort, all pulling in the same direction. It's really easy to sit here and to talk about the kills that we're able to see, you know, whether it be highs or fantasy getting, but that's off the back of the drone work that's going in from the likes of Rare and Lender. So you do see it on both sides there. And you can see why that hypes them up, because everyone's got a contribution in toward that as well. It's not just the guy that's pressing mouse one. And I think when they do get that early opening advantage inside of the round, they are a good team at really starting to press it. We've seen them threaten a couple of flawless rounds on their attack, and they finally managed to get one over the line. Now they switch things up and they get themselves onto the defense. Lender is playing, I don't know if it's the most risky mirror window I've ever seen, but it's certainly up there, Tim.
Well, you know, sometimes no risk, no reward. We've got to remember that. But the thing is, when you're thinking about mirror windows, you've always got to think about what's behind you. That's the big factor. And obviously having that big double window there, pretty easy for somebody to get up on the rappel and to just take that one out and shoot it down. But I think the hope there is that, you know, maybe that isn't the direction of the attack initially to begin with, and you can maybe just get that cheeky early kill onto Solarium using it. You know, effectively, if you see that mirror window as a bit of a burner, you know, as a bit of utility that, look, we're probably not going to hold on to this, it might just give us that cheeky, cheap early kill, then, you know, maybe it plays out. As we can see, the Barner's got on there, got that opened up, so Lender, he's going to have to dip away from that fight now.
Is he, though? That's the question.
Well, I mean, I say he has to. It's not to say he will do.
The way that silhouette was looked a little bit dangerous, and Lender is almost like a bit of a moth to a flame here with this one. He's still going to be holding on to the ankle, and he's going to get swung. Perez, he doesn't miss those. He's going to swing on in, find that kill onto Lender, and that's really opened up this Solarium side now for Black Dragons.
It's a great opening kill, that much is for sure. Perez having a much better game than maybe he's had so far, as I said, in Copa Elite 6, really getting himself rolling here today. And I mean, what a time to do it. You come into the quarterfinals, the knockout stages, that's the time to start putting up the real big numbers. Live manages to get himself a kill, and that's going to leave us now 5 versus 3 for Black Dragons. 45 seconds left to go, and this attack is looking pretty promising so far. They've got the vertical control that they need, but they need to be aware that Highs is on the flank here. This could be a big move.
Highs is looking quite dangerous there. There is going to be a Nomad in play with 2 air jabs out, so he does need to be cautious. Miracle there, jump scared. And it eventually ends up missing his shots. Highs is able to do a little bit of damage, though, but he's now going to be the last player standing. He has to pull off an ace here if he's going to try and do it, as Live looks to confirm that diffuser. 15 seconds left and nothing stopping him from getting it down. Highs does have a C4 and he's got a great shot. He's going to pick up 2. It puts him onto a triple. Resets and Perez, the final 2 to find. Going to use the C4. It might open him a bit of a line of sight. It's certainly going to give him something to work with, but these 2 players aren't going to give anything away. Crossfire there being held. Resets picking up the pieces. Black Dragons come away with an attacking round win.
Great round for Black Dragons there. Got themselves in, dealt with all the utility to put up against them on the top floor, got control, put the diffuser down. It was a textbook attack onto dining and kitchen, and it was very well worked. Black Dragons very impressive so far here on Chalet. Now, the worrying thing, if you're a FURIA fan watching this, is you're looking at this thinking, right, we've had that switch of sides. We were a little bit concerned after the initial attacking phase, but we got 3 on attack. That's okay, right? Black Dragons come in and absolutely smash your defence to pieces to begin with in round number 7. That's never a good omen moving forward. Black Dragons are showing that they've got some real teeth to their bite here, and coming through to get another one on Master and Office. This could be a big round for Black Dragons.
All I'm going to say is Lender's not playing mirror this time.
There's been words. Words have been out there.
Someone said something there. Someone's gone, you know what? Inside of the quarterfinals, I'd rather you don't. I'd rather you don't play the suicide mirror window, because it's just not giving us much. Just bring Frost, put 3 bear traps down. Tim's casting. Someone's bound to get caught in one. You'll be fine.
Absolute fact. Absolute given fact that somebody. I tell you what, I had a bit of a moment. I didn't actually mention it at the time, X. If you remember. I think it was maybe round 3. The Gemini clone went in through the library window and didn't shoot at the frost mat. And there was a bit where my heart sank as he went in through the window.
I love the Geminis because it baits me sometimes. Even when you just see them like swing round the corner, you're like, what? How is this happening? Like, he was over there a second ago. It is always makes for good fun.
The quick approach coming in from Black Dragons once again then. We've already got the Solarium Rappel established. We've got Sledge opening barricades up, drones going in, laser gates getting cleared off. Everything is going down very quickly. Utility being dealt with. The problem with those two laser gates on the Solarium windows there, Ollie, obviously anybody not familiar with the gadget, it prevents, you take damage if you move through it. So it sort of prevents utility, it prevents manpower just going in quickly and easily through that location. But what can happen is when it's been burnt out like that, so a throwable goes through there, the laser gate stops working for a period of time. Once that time is up, there's a little device that sort of generates the laser gate that's on the back of the window frame in this case, and that can be shot by a defender, and it will sort of reinstigate that laser gate. It'll get it working again. But the problem on the Solarium window with having two there, that's a very difficult shot to make if you've got people on rappel there, because when you expose yourself to take the shot and to try and reactivate that laser gate, you're going to get absolutely deleted from the map. So, bit of a tough spot. They've been easily dealt with by Black Dragons, and they're getting themselves in well here. This is going pretty good, other than that live there.
Yeah, live falling isn't ideal. It's going to be the sole hard breach that Black Dragons have chosen to bring here. Miracle doubles down as well, picking himself up a C4. Patoxy is going to miss out on his chance on that rotation kill onto Miracle, and Miracle's going to be able to, or maybe Fancy, swan up those stairs. Toxie now likely going to get himself onto that big window rappel and try and work with Ion here. There's still a diffuser to recover in and amongst all of this as well. And Black Dragon's push has just slowed down a little bit. Ion is going to get himself in. In the meantime, isn't going to be being challenged. I say that. Miracle's got the angle, and he doesn't need much encouragement to hit the headshot. Reset's now left inside of the ace clutch. In a pretty tough spot. Going to find himself one onto Miracle. This is where FURIA have been a bit shaky, but Lender this time says, stop. That's enough. I'm going to put an end to this right here and now.
Great defense from FURIA. After the first minute or so, I was sort of shouting up Black Dragons. I'm saying, yep, they've got somebody established in Solarium. They've dealt with a lot of utility. They're moving forward well. But FURIA proving me wrong. They had absolutely every angle locked down there. There was just no space for Black Dragons to breathe inside of the map there without FURIA putting them down, let alone breathe any fire into that attack. They just could not get it going. And once again, we see this back and forth. We haven't seen anybody take the lead by 2 rounds as of yet. It's always been a 1-round margin or dead level. And I can already see this one going to overtime. I mean, would it be a game that you and I cast? And it just seems to happen time and time again. I think we're heading for those extra rounds.
It's been known. I think it's probably fair to say that we do tend to attract an OT, and inside of a best of 3. I mean, the problem is inside of this one, Ace, is that it's Consulate final map.
Oof.
It's like your favourite map, my favourite map. I think everyone loves Consulate. Everybody wants to see Consulate in this one.
Especially for a decider. Especially for a LATAM decider. It's just going to be an absolute brawl.
Regardless of who's playing and who you want to win, I want to see Consulate as the final map, and that's where we're headed. In my head, already mentally, I'm ready to go there.
That's my only bias inside of this one. I know I've been a staunch supporter of FURIA in the past, but I'm not, as always, I come into this as a neutral. Black Dragons win, FURIA win, fantastic. I'm just going to get excited about it. What I'm biased towards is getting a 3rd map on Consulate. That's where I want to see the decider.
Well, I mean, if this game's been anything to go by, there's a chance that we get there, because there's not a great deal separating these two at the moment. And it's really going to be down to one team to stand up and start to change something, start to do something a little bit differently. So far, they're meeting each other and they're matching pace very well indeed. Black Dragons again going to go for this bit of a top floor clear. Some aggression there from Fancy, but Perez with the flip.
Get sat down.
His face doesn't even change. You could see him on the webcam. He just didn't even blink.
Honestly, between maps, somebody give that man a shoulder rub, because look at what happens. He's coming in absolutely storming through kills. That was an absolute beauty onto Fantasy. The drone went in just ahead of him. It's like he just saw that split second. It's like, right, I've got to react to this, and boy, does he. Now, Lender, he's inside of Library. He's trying to hold that long angle through, see if he can catch anybody out, but that's what FURIA's defences seem to be getting reduced to in some cases here. Can we catch Black Dragons out here? Can we catch them on a long angle? But Still work for Black Dragons to do here. A minute and a half. They've got all the time in the world. They've got the manpower 5v3, but they do need to clear Lender out.
And the pace of Black Dragons here could be something that comes back to haunt them in the later part of the round, especially now we see players like Miracle just starting to challenge Rare as well. Everyone on the side of FURIA is going, you know what, we're a bit of a man disadvantage here. They're not taking any advantage of this situation. We need to try and aggress on up and just meet them a little bit where they may not be expecting us now. Whilst they're droning and trying to formulate that plan and work the vertical, we maybe just need to get ourselves up there. Miracle does drop back, but Rare is still on the prowl. He's not going to see Perez at all. And he's going to pick up his second kill inside of the round. Lender now getting chunked down from small entrances. Well, eventually it will happen. Ion there, the one to land the shots. Miracle now. I mean, he's been one of the best players on the side of FURIA, but really, what is he able to do?
He's going to need a miracle
here? Look at him go. Finds himself to 30 seconds left. Manages to avoid one of the stuns, but will be caught out in the second. There's still enough time here for Black Dragons to rush through, or maybe even just try and guarantee this with a plant, and it looks as though that's what Live's going to try and do. Shots now being exchanged. All Miracle needs to do is kill the planter here, and he's going to get his chance. Can he land his shots? No, the cruel recoil and the short magazine of the SMG-11 is going to be his undoing. Now his location's known. He swings onto one, but he eventually gets taken out by Live. A plant and a kill to clean things up there.
That is agonizing for Miracle there. He sees the man, but he just sees a sliver and he can't get those shots. And we could all feel the disappointment that he must have felt as that SMG recoil just dictated the round for him. He just couldn't control it quite enough to hit enough shots. And like you say, the small mag size all played into it. If that one goes down, he's 1v2, and you start looking at things maybe a little bit differently with the diffuser down cold on the ground and time ticking away. Maybe people start panicking and things, they get turned around, but there was no panic in Black Dragons there. They were able to very calmly get that one over the line, get it on the scoreboard, 5-4. They've got themselves a nice late advantage here in this matchup.
That's what you want it. It doesn't matter who wins the first round, it matters who wins the last. And if that's what Black Dragon's mentality is coming into this one, then GG's, because they've really started to ramp things up over the course of the last couple of rounds. And their attacks have impressed me. I think their attacks is somewhere that they've put a lot of work into here. It isn't just out-and-out aggression. There's a focus on getting the plant down, even when they're in such a man advantage situation. And I think it's just a bit of a nod of respect as to what's gone on already inside of this game with, you know, 1vx's really sort of going in the one's favor. We've seen Black Dragons benefit from that a couple of times. FURIA themselves have done quite well in the clutches. So both of these teams having that clutch potential, and I think both just sort of recognizing, but maybe Black Dragons sort of taking it a little bit more seriously there with that focus on getting the plant down, putting the pressure onto Miracle, and getting themselves a bit of a lead here.
Interesting use of the Argus cam from Patoxic on the 0 there, taking that immediate long shot to take out the default cam, but also provide a lot of information across the top of that mezzanine. Now then, the second Argus goes in, does get spotted out by the Echo. He did get hit with the Z-ping before he managed to spot out the SAM cam there, but given that he's seen it, I would expect him to change his position somewhat. Not massively maybe, but he just needs to get himself away from exactly where he was playing, because that is what's going to happen. The nades are going to come in, the shots are going to rain up through the floor, and he just needs to make sure he's not there when they do.
So Lender's not playing the mirror window this time. He's instead going to use the Hibana holes. He's going to take down Perez in a shot that's only befitting onto somebody like Perez, because they're the kind of shots that he hits. Nutty. Little couple of taps there is all it takes. Not much of a sight picture to be going on. First time for a long time, it feels as well. Black Dragon's actually going to get... Sorry, FURIA are going to get the opener inside of this one. Black Dragons have really dominated that entry kill so far. So to get one back in this round for FURIA when they need it is going to be ideal.
It is, like you say, for the longest time, it's all been Black Dragons. We had Lender picking up a couple to begin with in round 1 and 2, but just getting his team back on track there with a big start. But FURIA, they need to convert this. That's the thing. They need to make this work. And generally speaking, when they've got that opening kill, they have done well within the round. Heise is going to take a lot of damage from Trench Door there. Just dip away from that fight for the time being. Get himself back onto site, which at this point is probably a good idea. 1 minute left to go. And we've got Black Dragons established inside a Solarium. But remember, they are attacking onto Kitchen and Dining. So still got quite a lot of work to do here. They've got 55 seconds. They look to find a kill onto the Aruni of Fantasy. He's had a quiet game so far and will be shut down, but Rare with a very important trade immediately onto resets there. 4 versus 3 now for FURIA.
FURIA still in a good position here. The diffuser is going to be in the hands of Live, but there's so much to get through upstairs. They've got these laser gates that are still going to be in place. Obviously, with the site being downstairs and kitchen, you need to try and hold some of that utility for later on. I think Ion's just going to walk straight through as he does actually get chunked on down. He's going to make his way down and start to try and pressure in, see if he can gain any advantage. Live has a chance here at a wallbang, but he isn't going to have the intel. Instead, he's just going to walk straight on in front of Miracle and get taken out there. Heise still doing his best despite his low health. He's going to be able to put a couple of shots on down range. Patoxy gets this one dangerously close, but time is going to do the rest. Heise, in fact, picking up the kill as the clock hits 0.
Beautiful couple of shots from Patoxy at the air then, but nothing but stat padding for him, unfortunately, as the time ticks away. The final kill does come in. Heise managed to get it in the absolute nick of time. And that's going to bring us back to 5-all. And still the trend continues that neither team can get themselves a 2-round advantage here. Both of them just keeping in constant touch with the other, keeping themselves fighting. And what an opener we have seen to this best of 3 so far on Chalet. I'm on the edge of my seat. I know that everybody at home's on the edge of theirs, because this one could go absolutely anywhere. And let's not forget the stakes for both of these teams. FURIA on that meteoric rise. They've been to SI. They've had a fantastic performance, and what better way to really cement that and lock it down than with another Copa Elite 6 strong performance going through and qualifying for that major. But then Black Dragons reaching this point with the skin of the teeth, just fighting tooth and nail for every opportunity that they've got and able to maybe get through to that major. They both know how important this first map is. And boy, are they going to fight hard for it now. Only one of these teams is going to get an opportunity at closing this one out in regulation, and we're going to decide exactly who that is here in round 11.
We're going to have to see a team book a trend as well. We're going to have to see somebody win a couple of rounds in a row, which up until this point isn't something that we have seen. And we've certainly not seen a 2-round lead. So the pressure really is on now. This is a big, big round. It gives you that chance at a match point, as you say, and it gives you that chance to convert that and to take map 1. It's a best of 3 series, so with this being map 1, there's still a lot of siege to get through today. And this by no means is going to decide who wins between these two teams, but it's going to be a big indicator moving in onto that second map with the advantage. Is always a nice place to be. And let's be honest, if Black Dragons win here, this was FURIA's map pick, so they really could throw a cat among the pigeons there and upset a few things.
That's it. It really puts you on the back foot potentially. And coming into Cafe, that's going to be in FURIA's mind. But then you can put a couple of kills coming in from there. Rare there. What a great start for him. He's having a great day so far overall, to be fair. 8 and 6. He's really contributing. You know, this is a player coming in who I said he's got 5 plants to his name. He's picking up that diffuser. He's doing some of the support work, but he's also getting in and getting the kills that his team needs, really contributing. And I'm sure they are happy with his performance, not just today, but throughout the Copa Elite 6. 5 versus 3 for FURIA, and it looks like they could be the ones to take the opportunity to get this one done inside of 12 rounds. Now, the one thing I would say for FURIA, historically, they're a team that will scrap for wins. And that's the one thing I would count against Black Dragons at this point in time. I'm not saying they can't, but FURIA I've seen a number of times win these tough, hard-fought games. They never seem to tire.
What's going to be key today, they've given themselves a really good springboard here to get this match point, given that they've managed to get a couple of opening kills. They've taken down the Zafir and the Hard Breach as well in the Hibana, so there's a lot of utility that has gone with Live and Ion. And it's utility that I doubt will have been used to its full potential, given that it looked like a little bit of a run out from Rare, just trying to throw a little bit of pace into the mixture. Nice vertical angle here being found by Resets, but it's not going to be enough to net the kill. Instead, Highs is going to be able to take down Perez. And we do see Resets think about getting a nade through, but the laser gate is likely going to mean that the first one goes to waste, although he is in fact going to go and try and nade down into that garage. Just use his drone to try and burn the laser gate, but everybody knows where he is at this point, and he's really just announcing himself. He's essentially waiting to be flanked by Lender. The nade is going to go down. We see Lender move through and dip, but Fantasy is going to be in place to deal with that one. Lender, he comes back up the stairs. He's been hiding down there pretty much for the entire round, just waiting for the right time to strike. And the right time was then. That's going to put Furia onto a map point here.
Perfect time for a flawless round for Furia as well. Just really locking down that site in Bar and Gaming and getting it closed out. They're going to head up to a master bedroom next time around. If we have a look, they've only defended up on the top floor once back in round 8. And you guessed it, they got themselves the win up there. So this could be a big, big round for Black Dragons. Not going to be easy for them. It's a site that they are yet to win. They've got to crack this nut coming in. They need to get the opening kills for me. A lot of the rounds have gone in the direction of those entry kills where teams have gone in and got the advantage. We've seen round 10, round 11, both gone to Furia. Lender in round 10, Rare in round 11. Furia coming in and just getting those big openers. And so for me, Black Dragons need to be very careful. I want to see them trying to get established inside a library. Nice and carefully keep your men alive. Be aware of what's underneath, and then maybe a one-man setup on Solarium window just to offer a little pressure from that north side, so that Furia can't just completely focus on the southwest.
Let's see what Black Dragons have up their sleeve here for this round. In a very similar setup when Furia defended up here previously. Lender on the Echo being that player that we got the nice opener onto Perez. He was playing inside of the little cubby behind the deployable shield. He's got the line of sight through onto the Solarium windows, and as soon as they get opened by Hibana, well, we all know that they work both ways, and you are able to gain a bit of an advantage if you know that somebody is going to be out there on the rappel. And maybe that's why we're seeing a slightly different approach for the majority of Black Dragons here, as most of the side has spawned over toward the library side. We do still have Perez, who's going to try and challenge on that Solarium, it seems. He's managed to open up the windows, and we'll have to try and burn out those laser gates to get any drones or get any utility on through.
Toxic just applying pressure simultaneously to main door and to the new balcony. He's going to no doubt open up that window and just to look and cut off the rotations for the defenders. But by dropping back down, that does just give them a little bit of comfort that they can still operate in and around that mezzanine area for the time being if needs be. We've got live established inside of library now. So far, so good for Black Dragons, but do need to find themselves that opening kill. As I say, they need something to drive them forward in this round. Ion's going to go in looking to find it. I think he's aware that there's a man playing underneath in and around kitchen dining, but they're likely to just move themselves more back up the trophy stairs side of things, if anything.
Black Dragons have been given a lot of space to work with here, and I think this alternate approach has really worked out quite well for them. They're going to be pushing in from this library side. They've not shown any attention to Solarium. This is really where we saw, you know, sort of Chalet starting off, was a library-sided push. Get open the wall from outside the balcony and just start to try and work in that way. And then it was only later on that we saw Solarium become the trend. And now it's always good to throw one of these library-sided pushes in because it can really start to work with you. Fancy, he's going to get himself stunned out. He's just playing on the edge of piano. He's trying to hold off onto the window, stopping anybody from hopping on him, but he will lose his shield. He loses his power position instead and getting droned, and a bit of a world of hurt, but does manage to find the kill over onto Ion. Still now confident to push his way on up. Black Dragons, the first kill coming in quite late. 45 seconds left. They've got a lot of work to do. Fantasy, he's just ramping things up now.
It's like Fantasy's just seen the playbook ahead of time there and just knows exactly what is going to be done as we have the Iana trying to aggress out onto the balcony. He's having absolutely none of it. And what's quite interesting is that Furia have taken on board this deployable shield setup that I was talking about on piano. It is so powerful, and Black Dragons haven't been able to find a way through it. And right now, kills are raining in. Highs and Rare getting one apiece and leaving live in a 1 versus 4. He's low health, about 27 HP. Fantasy Highs swings him. It's a trade, but it doesn't matter as Furia are able to close out Chalet and get the win in what has been a hard-fought game.
A very tough opening map there inside of this best of 3 for our first quarter-final game. Well, Furia are going to come away the winners inside of this one. Big performance from Fantasy Highs and Rare as they sit atop. And I guess Lender and Miracle as well. A very similar spread of kills